Yeah. Boom to the hey, all you sports fans out there in the tubosphere, or to you, the individual, as part of the collective. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Rack, highlights you can check out overnight here on Talk Radio version of the OMSR. I am, as always, your brief but very concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Thrill, taking you through the voiceover intro show thing-a-ling-a-majing. Let you know the clipboard are coming up, the last two wherefores. So from college football final, heavy analysis on that pick play from Notre Dame, Florida State. Don't buy into Mark May's, Notre Dame's way down here. Yo, Mr. May, remember that dude who was co-hosting with you when this whole shindig was kind of still in its infancy? At least in the context of this program with Reese and all that. Dude who was at Nebraska? Quickie Sport Rant is going to be about Notre Dame's schedule is looking a lot better in terms of the schools left they were going to be playing and rankings and all that. And it's a poster boys for third-party content and ID you got to watch out for. Roll please.
There was no way Notre Dame and Florida State could live up to the hype, except that it did. Questionable calls, clutch plays, controversial officiating, the ultimate drama, and maybe even two winners, big picture, and chaos in the Big 12, Lou.
I'm finished predicting who's going to win in the Big 12. Join us in the loud. You'll understand why.
For the last year and a half, Will Muschamp's been feeling the heat at Florida. But the way that they lost to Missouri on Saturday may be just too much for Gator Nation to take.
It's all coming up on College Football Final now.
College Football Final is presented by AT&T.
I'll wait and see. Yeah, I mean, the first half we say always be aware of it. If it's a pick, call it. If not, it's not.
We do it legally, and that's the way we coach it. We don't coach illegal plays. He did exactly what he's coached to do. Exactly what he's coached to do.
I think the official at the game called it on number 7. It actually looked like he was closer to being legal than number 20 was in that case. At any rate, when you look at this, you don't want to coach it to go down and block because that's illegal. You want to at least make it look like a pass route, although everybody runs a pick play.
Everybody does, and you have to be careful, but what you need to do, you need to go down, get in his way, and turn and act like you're a receiver where he has to run around you. Remember, you're down on about 4 or 5 yard line. The guy's going to the flat right now. If you've got to go around the defender, it's too late, and that's why it's such a great play, but it's also why teams try to defend it. Because you know that's what we're going to have. They scored their first touchdown. I called it a pick when the game happened.
Right, yeah, we were watching the game, and Lou immediately said on the first touchdown, that's a pick play.
And the thing is, in a crucial situation, you don't want the officiating crew to make a decision that's going to change the outcome of the game. But this was the right call. It was an illegal play. It was a pick. They saw it. They called it immediately. So there shouldn't be any question about anybody criticizing the officials on this play.
But nevertheless, you hate to see the game decided by an official's call.
Well, maybe so, but if it's a rule, you have to call it because otherwise you're not allowing the players to decide the game because you're not enforcing the rules.
To me, that was an egregious pick. I mean, both of those players, it was right out there in front of everybody, and everybody in the stand saw it. They had to call the play.
But Coach Kelly said that's how he coaches it, and they don't coach illegal things.
Well, and things might change with the way it's taught from that point forward. After they go back and look at the film, it's not the only play, but certainly it's the one that gets the spotlight when it's right at the end and when it takes a touchdown off the board. And you see a lot of pick plays called, so it's a little bit unusual. For my judgment, it was the right call. I thought the officials got that one right. The big picture of this is that Florida State, according to our Football Power Index, this was the game the Seminoles were at least most likely to lose. They had a better than 70% chance to win this game. But now their remaining schedule looks pretty wide open. The Thursday night game at Louisville against Bob Petrino's team could be tricky, but they're going to be heavily favored in everything else the rest of the way and clearing a way to the college football playoff, it would appear.
There's no doubt. I haven't always been a great fan of Jameis Winston, but I'll tell you, his performance in the second half was nothing short of spectacular.
Oh, there's no question. Jameis was outstanding. He was the reason they won the game. They couldn't throw the ball at all.
Couldn't run the ball.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It couldn't run the ball at all. Winston was terrific in the second half. He had the second lowest half quarterback rating he'd ever had in the first half, but came back with a near perfect one in the second. You see the numbers, threw for 181 yards with 21 points on the board.
We're 15 of 16 in the second half, and I talked about it before the game. When the lights come on, he's the brightest light in the stadium, and he steps up in the big games. Sometimes in the big games, he comes out a little hot in the first half, not as accurate, but he always finds a way in the second half to pick it up and get the job.
But there was one play where the linebacker came completely free for Notre Dame and fading away. He just, boom, flick of the arm, hit the guy on his slant for a critical third down conversion.
He's clutch.
Okay, it's going to take a massive upset for Florida State to lose a game, and one would think that they would make it into the field of the college football playoff. Now,
could be next week.
Maybe, okay, but what does Notre Dame gain from playing at this level, from having a chance to win the game, as you evaluate them among the one-loss teams?
I thought that Notre Dame was an excellent team going in. I thought they'd be able to run the ball, protect the passer, and would keep Florida State from running. It was that way. I did not estimate the Florida State defenders could cover Notre Dame's receivers and Winston have such a great game. But I think you have to say there's no difference between those two teams. They went down there to Tallahassee and played them even, outgained them even. Ran 87 plays.
How would you stack them up among the one-loss teams?
Well, the only difference between those two teams is Florida State's undefeated. They didn't lose the game, but if you stack them against a one-loss team, I think you have to put them behind Oregon and Alabama and Auburn and TCU. They played tough. They played hard. They showed me a lot of guts and determination. This is a better football team than I thought they were because of the opposition that they played this year. But when you look at the other teams, particularly the way that the Bama's played and the Auburn's played this year, and Oregon's come back, their offensive line's getting better.
But is there enough on that schedule to change your perception of Notre Dame to put them ahead of the other teams in there in that one-loss group?
Hey, that great performance, he's got them in the top 25 now. Wow, that's an improvement. Wow, that's a concession.
Is there enough on the schedule? What they have left, they got it.
Yes,
they got Arizona State.
Yes, SC and Arizona State. If they run the table the rest of the way, there's a lot of football to be played because there are a few teams out there with one loss. They're going to lose, obviously, because they're going to go head-to-head with some other teams with one loss. But if you look at Notre Dame, I think on the schedule, you've got to circle Arizona State, and obviously and Louisville's playing well, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. That's a team that's kind of sneaky right now.
Louisville has next Thursday night, I believe, or following Thursday.
Yeah, week from
they
Thursday.
have Florida State. And that's very dangerous. Remember, we beat Florida State and then lost the following week. Hard to bring them back down, however, happened the open date was.
Some good stuff going on there. Coach Kelly, let's backtrack here a little bit. You know, there's no place for Monday morning quarterback when it's still Sunday, early Sunday morning, basically late Saturday night, right? So I'm not going to go there. As a talking point, pundit-wise, being in that position, you know, on behalf of the university and all that, he hasn't seen the details. He's picturing something else that they coach in his mind, because they don't coach that. Clearly, they were blocking. You know, the officials can't always have the perfect view, obscured at times, but there was definitely, at least in the beginning stages, interference, and that's the end of it all. I mean, incidental contact, if you're trying to disengage as you're running by, not what you saw there. So, yeah, Lou Holtz, you know, being objective. Mark May, come on, dude. No, by the way, welcome to the new format here on the OMSR. Leave most of the talk towards the end. Now, I realize it's not everybody's cup of tea. You stick around for it or not, great, I understand what happened. So it does come up from time to time, and I'm allowed, I've imposed a rule, just so you know, 5 anywho's. Okay. I haven't used one yet, so here we go. Now the dude I was referring to before Lou Holtz came in to replace him, Trevor. That's all I remember, Trevor. I mean, I could look it up. The one-man sports fan is too busy doing all the other technical production, behind-the-scenes post-production. You know, when research warrants merits it, I will take the time. Anywho, there's one. He was either FB or LB at linebacker when they were having that good run, string of 2 in a row national championships. So check this out. Some of you dudes may not recall, I do want to say this is late 90s. Like before I moved to SoCal, thank you. It's only 0100. It's not that late. Haven't been tying one on today either for once. At least on a Saturday. That kind of sounds like every other day I'd be tying one on. Now, what I mean, you know what I'm saying. Anywho, back to, there's two. He leaves ESPN when it's at its infancy, at least in the context of this show, with Reese as your man on point, MC, however you want to refer to it, /him, to go to this, it's called, it was, CFN, this upstart network, College Football Network. And it doesn't exist in any iteration or form whatsoever since then. So how do you think he feels about that as a career move? But it was an awkward pairing. Well, the trio of them just did not flow. There's a reason why the three of them, as you see them together nowadays, have been together for so long. However, with Mark Mays, you know, clearly biased towards Notre Dame, I think he forgets how this dude. This is going on for, again, Trevor. We'll call him Trevor Dude. Was biased about a Nebraska. Pro Nebraska. It's like, come on. We know you played there. You had a good run. The expectations level and so forth, post Coach Osborne and Coach Solich coming in, all those segues and tangential related elements. So with that regard, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people were definitely, people, when I say people, let's be more specific as I say it to you, pundits too influenced by the national championship. So, that's that. But I will say, to that point, it's probably true because the schedule looks so weak. You say weak with a, you know, E-E-E-A-K-E-K, double E-A-K, weak. I don't think Notre Dame could play their way back in, especially with Stanford sucking through. And I think that's all I'm going to go into today with the new format here at the OMSR. Leave most of the talk towards the end. That way you get a little intro, you know what's coming up. Boom, you can dive into your sports. Get that's fulfilled. You stick around or not for the talk radio after the fact. I understand. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Colin Coward's not everybody's cup of tea. Not when he started. Not now. Doesn't keep him up at night. And however flip or rude this may sound, you know, I try to keep the sports talk relevant, but I'm not listening to sleep over it either. All the video, we'll get to the poster boy PABs. What's a PAB? I'll get into that later. Video highlights courtesy to ESPN and the NCAA and the respective universities, however briefly they were shown, or showed. Highlights showed from their get together. Everything else, the OMSR. Okay, that's it. Thanks for listening / watching. Remember Cordell / Oh man, do I miss those days for Colorado. Alright. Those silly do-eyes while you are out there doing what's coming up. Start of your work week. We're all laid out of here.